Once you start tackling harder fights in Metaphor ReFantazio, you may have been jump scared by your enemies, usually the strong ones, as they whip out a terrifying technique called Soul Scream as their turn is about to end. Bruh, there's nothing more terrifying in this game than seeing a really strong boss get 4 small turn icons out of nowhere, and we gotta keep in mind that this usually happens when your team's already hurting, so with the 4 additional actions they can easily wipe out your entire run. The crazy thing about this game is that, regardless of if they are a boss or just regular enemies, more and more foes will carry this skill or a lesser version called Soul Cry, which only gives 2 small turn icons instead of 4. Regardless of whichever version they have, it's still a very powerful tool that can turn the tide of a battle almost instantly, so you have to always consider it when you're fighting these enemies. On hard mode, this can be especially frustrating to deal with because they are going to be hitting you real hard, and I can't even imagine how much crazier it probably gets in Regicide mode. As frustrating as this mechanic is, however, not all hope is lost. Viewers, I'm gonna need your help with this one. In the more significant encounters, the game may hint at how to avoid triggering Soul Scream by means of the informant function or some other minor details. Following their guidance can significantly reduce the frustration you'll face in these encounters, because more often than not, it will just make it so that the enemies don't trigger Soul Scream or Soul Cry at all. For example, once you reach Virga Island, you can tackle several different side quests that will have you face multiple enemies who love to spam Soul Scream. For the avians that do this around Virga Island, the game hints at making sure everyone in your party is in the back row as you fight this monster. Doing so, again, negates their ability to use Soul Scream entirely. Another encounter that you may also run into around this time would be with the Cyclops enemy. This sort of enemy requires that another monster be with them, so you can't just kill everything else first, otherwise they'll Soul Scream. This got me thinking that most monsters that can do a soul move like this to get turn icons probably have a specific trigger to them up until the late game. Once we reach that point, I'm sure we'll see the full sadism of the devs at work, as the monsters, whether they're bosses or regular enemies, will just Soul Scream to the heart's content no matter what you do. But I'm not there yet, so I can't really comment on that. For now, let's work together on this. If you know of any triggers to Soul Screams or Soul Cries on any of the enemies that we'll run into in this game, let us know in the comments below. There's also an alternative option that we could do. Let's say if the majority of enemies really don't have triggers to the Soul Screams in the late game, then perhaps agility is a much stronger stat line than we initially thought. When anyone in this game misses an attack, they'll lose 2 turn icons. This can be amplified by something like the Dodger's Ring, which automatically ends the enemy's turn if they miss their attack. Equip this on your highest agility character, then pair it up with Taunt and some other buffs and other equipment and archetype skills, and you've got a dodge tank that can trivialize some encounters outright. Even if you're not at the point of seeing Soul Screams or Soul Cries often yet, it is important to keep this in mind as you are building your party composition. I hope this helps to alleviate some frustrations, because it can really suck when you're close to ending a fight, then all of a sudden the enemy just gets 4 to 7 turn icons to lay the smackdown on your entire party. This may or may not have happened to me after a long fight in a long dungeon. All I'm saying is, if it did happen to me, I might have been a little bit frustrated with it, but you know, it definitely didn't happen to me. Anyways, support your boy by hitting that like button and consider subscribing for more Metaphor ReFantazio content. This game holds many silly secrets, one of which you might need to add to your routine ASAP. Check out this video on screen right now to learn more. My name is Varsona, and I'll see you in the next video.